Welcome to a Monday morning edition Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready here with you, starting another week, starting the third week of preseason camp as Ole Miss heads toward its September 3rd date with the Troy Trojans. Former Ole Miss coach John Sumrall leading the Trojans. We'll get plenty of time to get to Troy. We're just talking about we'll start getting into some team stuff here in the coming days and definitely with the next week or so. But today we're going to talk about Saturday's scrimmage that was open to the fans, open to the media. So maybe some of you guys are in the stream, and obviously some of you listening in podcast form were there for that. The Rebels went for a little less than 2 hours or so on Saturday. So we'll hit that and some other topics here with you this morning. Podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford, Blue Sky location there and throughout Mississippi. It's up and down I-55 and all over North Mississippi as well. You know about taking pictures of the QR code right there and getting 1,000 bonus points and $10 when you download the Exxon mobile app. That's easy. So is the lunch special. It's $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drinks, and let them take care of you for dinner tonight. Ribs, plenty of other options in the hot case. If you call ahead, they'll have them wrapped up and ready to go for you. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. Let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guests join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to grab a burger, a po' boy, an appetizer. Great beer selection, full bar, and more. They also have Rafters in New Albany, and there's Rafters on the water out at Sardis. So if you're hanging out at Sardis this coming weekend, school getting ready to start, maybe one last hurrah out there, you can enjoy margarita, cold beer, burger, whatnot at Rafters on the Water at Sardis.
So we'll get into some scrimmage stuff in a minute. Just a little quick reading if you have any interest, kind of in college football. It's been one of the better success stories over the last 8 years or so since they were reinstated. Alex Scarborough has a really good story on ESPN about Bill Clark retiring, the former UAB coach. He stepped down from the Blazers, citing back issues, something that actually dates back to his high school days from a squatting weightlifting injury during that time. But he is selling his house just outside Birmingham. I'm assuming they're downsizing with him no longer being a coach, and Alex kind of uses that as the set-off point for a pretty good feature story on ESPN. So I was kind of reading about Bill Clark a little this morning, a guy who had popped up in some different coaching searches and did one hell of a job when UAB reinstated the program when they tried to get it off and running, because the difficulty of running, and I get they're not Power 5, not an SEC team or something, but running any FBS program when they say, hey, go find players, but we really don't have any money, and we're not going to play for 2 years. That is an undertaking that maybe was glossed over a little at the time of how difficult that would be or is. So anyway,
yeah, he did. He did an incredible job there. I mean, he turned them into a very respectable, solid program, and it was pretty much all his work.
They had no players in 2015 and 2016, did not play until 2017, and in 2018 won 11 games.
Yeah.
Won 11-3 in 2018.
Yeah, he did an amazing job.
He won his division in Conference USA 3 straight times from 18, 19, and 20. You think he's done? Think this is it?
Sounds like it.
You think so?
From what I've read, sounds like just the wear and tear on his body trying to coach a season had just gotten to the point where it was mentally debilitating.
Mm-hmm. And then he was at Jacksonville State for 1 year. That was his other head coaching job prior to UAB. Basically ran through a bunch of high schools prior to that, mostly in Alabama.
Yeah.
He had been at Prattville and some other places. I guess he was at South Al. Siski probably knows him pretty well, I would assume.
Yeah, I think Tyler and he are friends.
Are they?
I think they know one another. We might talk about it at some point.
Okay. So coverage.
Tyler knows everybody, though. I mean, coaching's that's kind of a weird fraternity.
Yeah. So coverage Rebel Grove from the scrimmage on Saturdays, video of Kiffin, all kind of stuff. But we've had a couple days since then. Has anything that you wrote or thought on Saturday changed in the last 48 hours? Kind of like Kiffin when he gets asked that today. Hey, you watched the film now. We have not watched the film. We've simply separated ourselves from it for 2 days.
Not really. There's a narrative that has been established by some. First of all, this is an interesting thing to me.
Sure.
There's an assumption by a lot of fans that because some media have a dog in the hunt, that all media have a dog in the hunt. I can honestly say that I feel like I watch a scrimmage with zero preference for who I would like to see do well.
I saw those fist pumps. I
The
mean,
only moment-
Neal's up in the crowd. I mean, you would mistake him. Well, A, for a Bengal scout, and B, for every time Altmaier did anything,
the only moment
like Tiger at Pebble.
The only moment of emotion that I felt in the entire scrimmage was when Mason Brooks went down. And I thought, first of all, I hope he's okay. And then second, I thought, well, this will be an interesting show if this is – because from my perspective up top, I thought it was a leg injury.
Yeah.
And I thought, damn it.
Yeah,
Like,
for full disclosure, I was on the field, Neal was in the stands, and when he came down, his first thought was, he's okay, right? I think that was the first sentence he said to me as we walked down.
So I walked up to Mason. I committed a media offense. Technically, I'm not supposed to talk to Mason in that environment. He was finished. He was signing an autograph for some little kid, I think, or taking a picture with a little kid or something. Yeah. And I just walked up to him. I said, "You all right?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just got my bell rung." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And because I was worried it was like ACL or something the way he went down. But other than that, I don't know that. I think it would be disingenuous to say that there are not media outlets covering this beat who are cheering for Luke Altmaier. I think it's clear that they are, and it's because he's a Mississippi kid. But there's a narrative that's kind of been established since then, kind of in fan world, that Dart was dominant. And I guess I have two responses to that. He was really good. His coach didn't have anything super positive to say about either one of them.
Somewhat by design and somewhat because there is more to it than we think.
And then the other thing was, if you're going to just look at sheer numbers, Altmaier wasn't awful. He held the ball too long. I thought he was tentative. I thought he was watching pass rush. Now, there's no way for me to know that because I'm not in his head.
We have not spoken to him, and we have no idea. So
it looks like Dart was looking downfield more. The one thing that I came away from was, like, you look at the passing numbers, and it's funny, the numbers don't reflect, because I got back here and I sat down and I started doing stats. Like,
yeah, hold on, I have them up. We'll just, for anybody that has not seen it, you can't, again, subscribe to rebelgrove.com, go to the board there.
And I know I need to shave. I haven't had a chance to shave today. I got up, I was helping my wife water plants, and I walked the dogs. I'm going to shave later today. I just didn't get around to it. It was one of those things. So
it's not that bad. You got like a little 5 o'clock shadow, but it's not. I mean, it's nothing.
My thing is when I shave,
I would never have noticed it.
I need 10 minutes to shave because I shave my head too, so it's going to take a minute. And I didn't.
You never shave your face without shaving your head? It's
No.
all at the same time always.
No, and this is like as far as I like to let it go because it just starts to itch.
I guess you do have a little bit of. You show a little shadow there. But
Yeah, a little bit. Whatever. I mean, nobody cares.
Luke Altmaier, 12 for 18, 97 yards, an interception.
Yeah.
These are very unofficial, but I'll trust Neal to do a pretty good job. Jackson Dart, 16 for 21, 244 and 2.
That's what I had.
And Kincaid Dent, 7 for 7, 56, 2. I don't think he took a snap with the first team or the second team.
He did not.
100%.
He did not.
Okay.
He did not. And so you look at those numbers and you go, oh boy, they lit the defense up. And had you asked me for a verdict immediately, who won, offense or defense, I would have said defense.
I would have too.
And so the one thing that I saw in that, and the reason that I think you have to be careful with scrimmage stats, is I think had that been a live game, the quarterbacks would have gotten mutilated. Quarterbacks were getting hit a lot on Saturday if they let quarterbacks get hit.
Both quarterbacks were flush from the pocket a lot. They were on the run a lot. There was lots of kind of arguing between the two sides on where somebody would have been down had they been playing tackle, and they sort of let that go a little bit and some things along those lines. Yeah, I thought that there was a lot of disruption, especially up the middle. I thought that quarterbacks, Dart and Altmaier, both were really, really, really trying to be careful to not get flushed out from right up the middle, and then they started sort of telegraphing that and looking for that. And I mean, J.J. Pegues was disruptive on Saturday. They were having a hard time kind of in that interior blocking. And now Kiffin said, look, we weren't scheming our defense. If we could have shored up a few things and done some different things to fix that if we were actually playing them, but it was what it was. But no, they held the ball. They got out of the pocket. They scrambled a lot. It felt, even just results-based, I don't think the ones scored until maybe like the fifth drive or something. They got bottled up, or at least the touchdown. I guess Cruz hit some kicks, but they got off to kind of a slow – they moved the ball well between the 20s, I thought, and then got bogged down in the red zone from an offensive standpoint. And it just felt like the defense, for the most part, was really disruptive outside of a couple backs getting hot on some series. The defense won just from a straight eye test standpoint.
Yeah, so Mingo was in a white – no, you can't hit him jersey.
Heath was too.
Robinson didn't play.
Yeah.
Broker played a few snaps.
And one quick thing on the wide receivers is when that happens, that moves Jordan Watkins outside instead of in the slot. So you're not just losing a receiver.
Yeah.
You're also moving guys out of maybe where they're supposed to be or where they would be if your entire lineup was out there. So there were some receiver issues as far as the quarterbacks having a lot of options down the field.
So you had that. You had Broker didn't play much. Brooks got hurt early. So you were shuffling your offensive line. You had to move a couple of second-team guys to the first team, which meant when you went to the second-team offensive line, it had some third-team guys in it. The snaps from the second center, I'm not picking on him, but they were awful.
Yeah.
It was disruptive.
85% of the snaps, give or take, was high.
Yeah.
They were up.
And so if a play is designed for the quarterback to be looking at his progressions, and he immediately has to leap high into the air to catch a ball, to come down, get the play's disrupted from the start. And there was a lot of that. So my anticipation is that Lane is going to say, I'm not ready to make judgment off one practice that had a lot of variables involved. That's my guess. Now, to the naked eye, and I guess we all are out there with naked eyes, if you will, I think it was pretty obvious which quarterback did the most good things. It was Dart. Which quarterback, if you were watching that and you said, which one of those quarterbacks could go win games in the SEC right now, I think you'd say Dart. But there's some things that Jackson has to fix.
He threw the ball down the field better. He attempted more windows than Luke did.
Yeah.
He seemed a little more confident. He seemed to keep his eyes downfield better than Luke did. I just thought, I don't want to put a reason on it or an emotion on it because I have no idea what Luke was thinking or seeing or anything else. But again, from my eyes, he looked tentative and like he could not stay downfield with his eyes for most of the thing. There was lots of dump-offs and really quick getting out of the pocket and moving with his feet and sort of, it's not really fair to say giving up on the play, but didn't appear to be going through reads the same way Jackson was down the field, is at least what it looked like, knowing nothing else.
Frankly, I thought Kincaid Dent played better than Luke. Now, Kincaid was playing against third-teamers.
Yeah, and with third-teamers.
And so I don't know what that means. I mean, look, the fact that Kincaid has not been on the bottom field getting 1s and 2 snaps tells me that he's the third quarterback.
Yeah, that was, everybody keeps asking that. That's why Lane is not getting tons of Kincaid Dent questions, is he's not doing anything with the main field. I mean, it's not.
There's no justification for asking the question.
Because, I was talking to Suss about that on Saturday. It looks like from a third-team standpoint, now people can move up and down, but the one guy they seem most interested in on the third-team offense is Larry Simmons.
Yeah.
Now, is it this year? Probably not, but they like him a lot. He's flashes.
They like him a lot, and I don't think they're just wild about some of the stuff that's happening at receiver. Now, Danis Jackson had a pretty good day on Saturday. They need Danis to do something, and he kind of did. Braylon Brown had some moments Saturday. They need that too.
J.J. Henry was pretty good on
Saturday. I think
Saturday.
J.J. Henry's going to play.
Yeah. Henry was good.
I don't know what the issue is with Jalen Robinson. He's appears to be legitimately injured.
This is 4 or 5 days in a row now. Yeah.
So, and wide receivers are going to get banged up. You've got to have some depth there. I didn't I didn't walk off that field thinking not much in my mind had changed. Like I still walked out of there. Someone said, "Would you change your prediction?" I said, "No, I'd still go 8-4, and if you told me I was off one, I'd go 7-5 until they answer some questions." I didn't see a 10-2 football team, but it's August the 13th when I saw it. They don't have to be a 10-2 football team on August the 13th. And when Lane Kiffin says we still have a long way to go, he's not lying. No, that's not coach speak.
I mean, barring something catastrophic, they have to be a 10-2 football team or a 9-3 football team October 1st.
Yeah.
The day Kentucky comes to town.
You know, and then I saw something on Sunday morning and I posted it. But it was a reminder to me, and I think it should be a reminder to Ole Miss fans, that you lost more off that team last year than Matt Corral. Mark Robinson's making plays in Pittsburgh. I mean, he's going to play. Chance Campbell might start as a rookie. Probably won't, but he might. Took more snaps than any other linebacker in a Titans uniform in their first preseason game. They are clearly giving him a long look, and they like what they see. You replace those guys. Sam Williams, at least from what I saw last week, has been sort of dominant in Cowboys camp. Maybe something has changed since then. I don't know. I don't follow every NFL team's training camp. It's just not possible. But, you know, Jake Springer, for what he did in the Ole Miss, what his role was in that defense, he was elite at it. So you're replacing all of those things. And then offensively, you've just got all these new faces, including quarterback. And it's going to take a minute. I mean, the one thing that did strike me offensively is you can tell there's just not a ton of chemistry yet, which is what to be expected.
I mean, you can see the new guys too, and then a couple of the guys that really need to be better at it. I mean, there was formation issues, lineup issues. Nobody was in the right spot all the time. There was some discombobulation with the quarterbacks trying to communicate to some of the young guys or the new guys on where to be. I mean, Kiffin got pissed off 3, 4, 5 times about just getting in the right spots over the course of Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to guess, based on my years of covering college football, that on game day, they're not going to allow the coaches to be on the field. It'll be a penalty.
Yeah.
And had the coaches not been on the field on Saturday, you would have had to burn a bunch of timeouts.
Yeah.
Or take a 5-yard delay of game or whatever, because
there were at least 3. I know Danis once and Trigg twice. I don't know past that, but I saw more than that. I just didn't get numbers or pay attention that close.
I was waiting for someone to ask a Trigg question because I had a feeling that Lane had an answer queued up. I did not want to be the guy that fell victim to that, and so I kept my mouth closed. He's not there yet. Again, that's my thing. Is so people are like, well, what did you think? I don't know. The grade right now is really incomplete.
Jackson is farther along at quarterback than Trigg is at tight end. Don't get me wrong. But they are very similar in the standpoint of they flash and you go, holy shit. That is amazing. Like, Trigg went across the middle a couple times and caught a couple balls, and you saw how physical he was. And, you know, in the last practice for the scrimmage, I guess like Thursday, he catches the ball in the middle, and somebody tries to arm tackle him, and he kind of pushes him down. You're like, hey, no, there's real talent there.
Oh, sure.
And you see that with Dart, too, when he throws some of these balls and in windows, you go, wow. But then you can't let that cloud over the other stuff when there's some basic football here that doesn't really get acclimated the way it should at this point.
And so you're going from experienced guys that played a lot to talented but really inexperienced guys who haven't played a lot. Trigg hasn't played much at all. Jackson played, 5-6 games at SC? So look, there's going to be some growing pains. There just are. But nothing's changed my opinion that, boy, October the 1st is going to be really interesting.
It's really just the set answer for like the next month and a half.
And I realize that's boring, and so we'll figure out a way to
get around it.
Get storylines for the next minute or two. But, I mean, kind of my opinion is October the 1st will really be interesting.
That has remained the fact. And
that hasn't changed. You know, I mean, they're going to beat Troy because Troy's not very good, and Ole Miss is going to be significantly better than Troy. I feel confident about the Central Arkansas game. Georgia Tech might be enough of an interesting game that we'll have something to talk about.
But if it's overly close, that's an Ole Miss problem.
Yeah, and then I don't know anything about Tulsa
and
the game, whatever. And then it gets real. And from that point forward, with the exception of a trip to Nashville, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I expect.
Yeah.
Honestly. But we got some time. And I'm sure Lane Kiffin is thinking, honestly, that thank goodness we do. Because he'll tell you that, hey, you got a lot of work to do, and he's not wrong. As opposed to a year ago offensively where, I think at this point in camp, his general sentiment was let's just keep everyone healthy. I can remember him kind of saying that. Just need to stay healthy. Didn't need Matt out there turning an ankle or doing something stupid. Just kind of roll. And now you got to work. What I do think will happen this week, this is my guess, and you tell me whether you agree. I think will be one more week of quarterback competition.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think based on just looking at how discombobulated they were at times, I think you'll see him have to make a call at quarterback.
How about that?
Get into a rhythm a little bit.
Get the 11, 14 guys who are going to play the most, and let's get going.
Start trying to get some – when I say chemistry, I don't mean getting along, but I mean timing and stuff as a unit.
Yeah. All right. Hit a couple other topics in a minute. First, about Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. A new flavor they have going. Remember, the lemon and cracked pepper flavor is available now with primeshrimp.com. Another meal in a bag ready to go. I know it's busy, kids and different things. So if you need to feed them a quick meal, you get restaurant quality shrimp shipped straight to your door. You can use code MPW for $20 off on that order. Again, that's primeshrimp.com. One of the many flavors, including they also are now selling their 2-pound bags of individually frozen shrimp, just like you get at a grocery store, except a higher quality from the New Orleans-based company. So whether it's the lemon and cracked pepper or one of the other favorites that maybe you've tried before, again, code MPW for $20 off, and that's primeshrimp.com.
A-Stock Options is a Nashville-based online auction company with the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items at A-Stock Auction start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1. Shop now at astock.bid. That's ASTOCK.bid. Or download their app and name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A-Stock Auctions has multiple locations around Nashville that offer local pickups, so don't miss out. Want it, bid it, win it. We're also brought to you by My Perfect Franchise. If you're looking to diversify, looking to leave the corporate rat race to gain control of your income and schedule, My Perfect Franchise offers you that and more. They offer you the ability to create income and wealth. Let Andy Ludecky guide you through a comprehensive franchise evaluation. He has tons of franchise and business ownership experience to lean on. If you hate your job, your boss, your pay, you feel stuck, email Andy. It's andy@myperfectfranchise.net. Also brought to you by Solutions RX. It's a probiotic multivitamin supplement company created by Ole Miss Pharmacy alum Chris Cornelison. It's pharmaceutical grade, manufactured right here inside Mississippi. If you take diabetes, high blood pressure medicine, or cholesterol medications, they typically cause side effects like muscle pain, brain fog, and energy loss due to a depletion of minerals and vitamins in the body. It's solutionsrx.com, promo code OEP at checkout to receive 10% off of your first order. Holcomb Portable Buildings is at 7991 Highway 7 South in Holcomb, Mississippi. At Holcomb, they custom build your building to your specifications. However you want your carport, ATV, or storage shed, barn, hunting cabin, or other buildings, Holcomb can accommodate you. It's holcombbuildings.com or 662-226-2233. Free delivery and setup within 75 miles of Holcomb. You can learn more at Facebook or Instagram at Holcomb Portable Buildings. We're now minus 3 weeks away from the first game, first tailgate. You want to get in touch with the people at 7 South Tailgating. It's your one-stop shop for all things tailgating at Ole Miss. Their service is fully customizable to accommodate anything from the most basic needs to turnkey tailgating. They provide a level of service unlike any other. Their team is passionate about serving fellow Rebels. It shows. If you use their service once, you'll never tailgate without them again. 7southtailgating.com to submit a request. They're currently booking single game, multi-game, and full-service packages. As of now, they still have availability for any and all services and game selections. Again, 7southtailgating.com.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip at the pharmacy, one delivery, and you have everything you need when you need it with G&M. Also, with their med packs, they will individually package your medication for those who need that extra step, maybe a parent, maybe somebody who just needs a little extra help. Morning pouch, afternoon pouch, everything there for them when they need it. That is, again, G&M 662-236-2222. Did you see where we've had now Mitch Barnhart had to make a comment. Stoops continued on Saturday. I mean,
saw that.
This Kentucky thing, if nothing else, is getting us through a couple days. It's an interesting deal when you look at it in its totality. We talked about this on Thursday night with Calipari. I really had no issue with what he did. He was stumping for a practice facility, talking to mostly boosters in the Bahamas.
He just didn't have to bring up football.
He didn't have to bring up football. Well, what's funny about it, and I'll get to it, he has a couple comments here. I've got the whole thing in front of me. We'll go over. But he in his head, I think he thought he was – now, look, he's a jackass. Everybody knows Cal's a jackass.
Yes.
But he thought he was actually kind of sort of bringing them in a positive way because he's like, hey, we're a basketball school, rah-rah. Now, I want them to win a lot of bowl games and a lot of 10 wins, but don't forget where your bread's buttered is kind of what he was going at here.
Yeah. He just didn't have to go there.
He did not have to go there. Stoops followed back, as Ryan Brown said on Thursday night during Henry's guys. He really just had a couple facts. He mentioned 4 bowl wins in a row. He mentioned they play in the SEC. I think he put a question mark after basketball school in there. Again, he did not say anything incorrectly.
No, I kept waiting for him to say, we didn't lose to St. Peter's.
He had a couple players that did, but he did not personally did not do that. So Stoops on Saturday.
Mitch Barnhart, quite thankful that he did not, by the way.
Yes, very much so. Because Mitch was already pissed, so he would have been even more pissed at that point. So on Saturday, I guess Stoops had a post-practice interview or whatever after Kentucky had held his practice on Saturday.
Yep.
And he starts off with a pretty basic just, hey, it was in defense of my players and defense of the work we did. He mentions a couple times that he stays in his own lane, that he does not mention other sports, that he does not go that route. And then he says that, listen, we all know this program wasn't born on third base. So some may, but I can promise you this football team didn't wake up on third base. Did a lot of work. We did a lot of work. I have a feeling that was pointed toward a specific situation in Lexington at that point. He mentioned some facility things they didn't get either over the course of time. And at this point, Barnhart is wanting to just tear his own hair out.
Yeah.
And want everybody to cheer. He says, Stoops, what I was mentioning. I don't care what anybody says about their program. That's not my business. That's not my lane. But when you start talking about my program and others that we compete against, I don't do that. I stay in my lane. He said that he and Calipari had not spoken, and he declined to comment on the status of their relationship.
Oh.
Which is maybe that might be the biggest clue in all of these things at that point. Calipari did say that he said the, quote, wrong thing in his initial comments. He says, Mark and I will be fine. We'll get back and talk about it. I'm not a real smart person sometimes. It doesn't come out the right way. That's an Italian in me. But we'll be fine. He said he has tried to reach out to Stoops. They had not communicated. And
Mark's not ready to talk.
Mark is not ready to talk.
Sometimes you're just pissed off and you're just not ready to put it to bed yet.
Barnhart, the Kentucky AD, who also had a news conference on Saturday that covered a lot of topics. He talked for like 45 minutes, so it wasn't just about this. However, he says, I think they'll talk at the appropriate time when Cal gets back from the Bahamas. I don't think those are conversations that are probably great over the phone. I think you want to get back face-to-face and visit a little bit and do that together. They're both grown men that are iconic people in our program, and I would expect and anticipate that they'll manage it like pros. He, however, did say that he did not appreciate how it was handled between the two high-profile coaches this week and called it unproductive and unfortunate, and that he had talked to each coach individually at this point.
And they both make millions more than he makes, and that factors in as well. Like when the coach of the Lakers is pissed off at LeBron, there's only so much he can really say.
Well, I guess that's a good point. Yeah. Yes.
Barnhart Stoops is like, what are you going to do, fire me? Because I can get another job. Mark Stoops, if Kentucky fired him, Mark Stoops would have a job within minutes. And Calipari is iconic.
Barnhart mentioned rent at Rupp Arena. I don't think anybody's going to feel sorry for an SEC program mentioning how much it costs to do something right now. I don't feel like that's a huge deal. said it went from a couple $100,000, $250,000 a year to almost $2 million now to help facilitate a major renovation of the downtown venue that is necessary. Are the women playing there now too, or they still play at Memorial on campus?
I think they still play at Memorial, but I'm not sure.
Barnhart conceded he's, quote, not real thrilled with the state of his department this week. Quote, the grown-ups are going to have to figure it out and be a little better. We will not be an entitled department. We will be grateful for what we get. And then started going into some of his background, basically, at that point.
Should be an interesting meeting when they all sit down together. I did laugh at some of the other ADs. The one that comes to mind is Hunter Yurachek at Arkansas put out a – he just released it with, like, no comment. It was after Arkansas had beaten A&M last year at Jerry World. And Van Horn and Musselman are down on the field, and they all kind of go over and hug Pittman. And he said, I just felt like releasing this today. Don't know why. I mean, people are having fun with it. It'll be all right.
I'm going to get off this topic, but I do find it really fascinating for some reason. Barnhart goes here. We got 44 years of experience between the athletic director, the men's basketball coach, and the football coach at Kentucky. Walk around the league and tell me everybody else and who's got that. Then they can start tweeting that stuff out. A couple of them have gone through some coaches pretty quickly, so yeah, I'm a little fired up about that. The league used to be a league of friendship. If this is the way it's going to go, I'm in. Let's go play. It got me a little juiced. He's talking about again, Hunter Yurachek tweeting the football, men's basketball, and baseball coaches huddled together in conversation, saying no specific reason, just thought this was a great picture to share today. As Neal mentioned, quote, run hashtag one Razorback. And then Tennessee basketball player Josiah Jordan James tweeted yikes in reference to the TIF, saying we love each other on this side. Volunteer athletic director Danny White replied saying he couldn't agree more and calling UT a, quote, everything school. They're coming from White.
Yeah, so everybody's a little chippy.
The league is chippy.
The league's been chippy.
I mean,
we had the Jimbo Saban thingy.
You think this makes Feinbaum's book make it a little longer?
I mean,
you think we got a tributary out a little bit?
It's been a good week for Kentucky sports radio.
Literally, Matt Jones and those guys. I bet they've had
they've had
not just Kentucky sports radio, but Kentucky sports radio.
They've had a week. Kyle Wilson, thanks for the super chat. He says, if asked, would Freeze do a commentary on the Blind Side movie? Probably, because he can't turn it down. I don't think Hugh was thrilled with the way he was portrayed in that
at
movie.
all.
Is this the best group of football coaches the SEC has had? And then, yes, there is a G-Pits we taped yesterday afternoon. Jay just sent me the link. I'll load it later today.
I had a buddy text me last night, and he had shown Blind Side to his kids for the first time, and the complicated thing to trying to show, 10, 9-year-olds the Blind Side and explaining, well, Orgeron was the coach there, but you knew him as the coach at LSU, and Nutt was the coach at Ole Miss here, but then Freeze was behind him in the video, and he coached at Ole Miss here too. And then, well, no, Saban was here, but he was at LSU at that point, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, it was complete and utter just chaos from trying to explain to young kids what exactly the Blind Side was going on at that point. It's a really good group of coaches. I mean, I off the top of my head, I'm having a hard time kind of going well compared to, but is the SEC group of coaches better than the Big Ten group of coaches?
Probably, all in all. I mean, if you look at the
how many duds are in the league
right now?
Yeah.
Duds. Well, let's go through.
Okay.
So you got the greatest ever.
Yeah, hold on so we don't screw up anything.
You got Saban at Alabama. I think it's safe to say he's not a dud.
I have a feeling he helps the overall thing of.
I'm doing this alphabetically starting in the West. You've got Sam Pittman at Arkansas. I don't think he's a dud. I look at what he's accomplished so far. I know there are people that desperately want to call him Matt Luke 2.0, and
that doesn't feel fair.
It just doesn't feel right, frankly. Brian Harston's not a dud. He won at Boise State. If Auburn fires him, he'll get another opportunity elsewhere. The LSU, the name's escaping.
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly, certainly no dud. I mean,
won a lot of college football games at multiple places.
Mike Leach has won at Texas Tech. He's won at Washington State. He's yet to really win at Mississippi State, but I wouldn't feel confident calling him a dud. I think it's safe to say Lane Kiffin is not a dud. What he's accomplished at Ole Miss is remarkable.
And Jimbo.
And Jimbo's won a national championship and is not a dud. You might not like him, but I don't feel confident calling him a dud.
I will say that I believe all in all, because because your weak link here is probably Harsin or Leach. The SEC West is the best collection of coaches maybe ever in one division.
I think that's more than fair. Yeah. I mean,
you've got a lot of
if Mike Leach is the weak link, I mean, come on.
And that's arguable. I mean,
he won big at Texas Tech by Texas Tech standards. He won big at Washington State by Washington State standards. It hasn't happened at Mississippi State yet, and I'm not sure it ever will, but am I prepared to call Mike Leach anything resembling a dud as a coach?
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
All right, we'll move over. Obviously, Kirby Smart has won a title. He's all right now. Mark Stoops is a hell of a football coach. There's no doubt about that. Josh Heupel, to be determined, but he's been all right. He's done a lot of good things.
Call him a dud.
No. He's been fine. I'm good there. Drinkwitz is the closest we have in the league.
He's the one that if you told me you could have a dud, I'd say, okay, it's probably him.
I think he is.
I'm not ready to go there yet.
I don't think he sucks, but I also don't think he's anything more than a War of Zero replacement coach.
That's fair.
And probably a little under that because he also gives you nothing on a PR standpoint or anything kind of off either. There's nothing to pull him up.
Napier's not going to get it done at Florida this year, and so people are going to do this news cycle thing. But look at their recruiting. Go look at their 2023 class, and I'm just going to say you better start getting them now.
You think Florida's going to win again?
I do, because he won big at Louisiana Lafayette, and they're recruiting at a really high level, and they're doing it, as someone pointed out to me yesterday, they're doing it from the inside out. They are recruiting linemen.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm good there. So Drink's the closest. Because Clark Lee and Beamer are the other two. So
yeah, and
we don't know.
Well, Beamer's not a dud. Flat tell you. I mean, I'm not ready to do this South Carolina's going to win 9 games thing, but Beamer's a good coach. Beamer, if South Carolina will give him time, and I think they will give him whatever he needs.
I do too.
He is eventually going to win there. It's going to take a minute, but he is going to win there.
So here's the Big Ten list. Grind chipping in saying he thinks the Big Ten has better coaches, and it's not even close. The Big Ten, Illinois, Brett Bielema, Big Ten. Won at Wisconsin, was a disaster at Arkansas in a lot of ways.
He was a disaster at Arkansas in a lot of ways. Some of that was not all his doing, and some of it was just timing.
Tom Allen in Indiana, I really, really like Tom the person, but I think he was a one-hit wonder in Indiana. I don't see that being a sustainable year-over-year ability there.
This will be somewhat unfair, but if it happens like you and I both think it's going to, I think people will look at them and go, and they benefited in a COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a weird year.
Sure. And, Indiana is a really hard job.
It is.
It's hard, but
yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything higher than that. Obviously, Kurt Ferenz is a hell of a coach at Iowa. Mike Loxley at Maryland, I mean, it's been fine.
Yeah, he's done okay.
It's been fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of in that middle ground. Harbaugh at Michigan, he needed last year to keep his gig. He gets a little bit of a new lease on life here.
But nobody's calling him a dud.
No, God, no.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Harbaugh could probably get 10 jobs in a 5-minute period.
Mel Tucker has a hell of a year at Michigan State last year. I'm curious to see what he does year over year, but he's a good coach. I
think they're going to win again this year.
Yeah, I think he's a good coach.
Hell of a recruiter.
PJ Fleck at Minnesota. You like him more than I do, but he is a winner.
I like Fleck.
Yeah. Scott Frost could be a dud.
Frost won at UCF, though, and he won big at UCF. And so no one's won at Nebraska in 2 decades. And so it's possible that that's just a place where you can't win.
I guess the problem I have, and while you're right, is I just don't know what to do when teams win at lower levels. Like, I don't know what to do with that coach. Does that necessarily mean he's a great Power 5 coach? No. Not necessarily.
No.
But I mean, I'm not giving, I get it was just 1 year, but I'm not going, Drink was great at App State. I mean,
no, he inherited Satterwhite's program.
And it's possible that Frost has a temperament that works well at UCF that might not work at a larger school.
Sure.
He's been battling with Trev Alberts a little bit, and I get the Nebraska thing adds so many layers and so many different ways.
It's possible that you just can't win at Nebraska in the same way that you just can't win at Missouri.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Kyle with another super chat. He says, if the issues at Kentucky keep on and Auburn fires Harsin, would he go to Auburn? Jay and I actually talked about this on GPITS. You'll hear it later today. He would be on my really short list.
Stoops.
If I'm Auburn, yeah.
I don't hate that.
No.
I hadn't thought about it, but I don't hate it.
Don't know that he'd leave Kentucky for Auburn. I don't know that he wouldn't. I mean, the rumor on Stoops is that he is waiting for his alma mater to open up and that it's his job.
Really?
For those who don't know, his alma mater is Iowa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, be a hell of a fit there.
Yeah, I mean
that
like
fits in so many ways.
Perfect glove. We put it on. Oh, that is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything continuity wise, you're just rolling. Like there's no.
Yeah. A younger, maybe a little more dynamic Ferentz.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Higher ceiling, I think.
Yeah. And Ferentz's ceiling is 10, 11 wins. So,
sure.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a hard
I don't know that you can win a national title at Iowa. In fact, you probably can't. But in a 12-team playoff, I think you could expect to make the playoff sometimes.
Impossible job, but Pat Fitzgerald's a hell of a football coach. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure.
He's done a good job. Ryan Day, obviously, is a good football coach at a loaded school. I would like to see Day at a longer time in another place, just see what he's actually like as a coach. I mean, they're so loaded that it's hard to – because you didn't build it either. You know what I mean? Like, when you have no way to know, well, I mean, are you just in the penthouse and aren't wrecking it? Like, what's the deal there?
I don't know that it's possible to lose there.
Yeah, it's weird. James Franklin's a scummy human being, but he is a good football coach.
He is a hell of a good football coach.
He's a good football coach. I couldn't hire him if I was an AD. I'll find somebody else. You'd have to you put your head on the pillow every night going.
I know, but it's college football, and it's already so scummy. What difference?
But if I can afford him, I can afford somebody else I don't have to do that with.
That's true.
It's not like I get him or Drinkwitz. I mean, I can.
If you're Auburn and James Franklin's agent calls.
I mean, please. I
mean, people say, Neal, what do you cheer for? I'm like, oh, you really want to know what I cheer for? Okay. I'd like something like James Franklin at Auburn and Hugh Freeze at Mississippi State, please. Thank you very much. I'd like to order that. I mean, if someone told me today, hey, if the football gods came down and said, hey, guess what happens in December? And I'm like, I don't know what. Okay, well, Ole Miss is going to beat State again. And they're going to just go ahead and move on Leach. And guess who they hire? And I'd be like, Will Hall? No, it's better than that. Who? They're going to hire Hugh Freeze. I would have to say, excuse me, Mr. Football Guy, with all due respect, I'm going to need to go somewhere for a minute.
And thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to need a few minutes.
Franklin should be better, though, than 66-34 at Penn State.
You know, I don't know enough about the dynamics of that job post Sandusky gate.
Maybe so. Maybe I'm not being fair.
I mean, you might be. I don't know. I'd like to know more of the internals on what that looks like trying to recruit there. With when you take a kid, go, here are our facilities. Oh yeah, those are the showers.
Yeah. Jeff Brom at Purdue had a year or two. It's okay. He's fine.
He's solid.
Yeah, he's all right. It's a hard job. Yeah. He's 28-29 overall. It's fine. Schiano is a good coach. Greg Schiano is a really good football coach.
Yeah.
Again, it's nowhere near Neal's Iowa fandom, but if I have a Big Ten team, it's Wisconsin. I actually think Paul Chris is a little overrated. I think he's fine, but I think he's a touch overrated. They win a lot of games. They're never bad. But there is such a system in place at Wisconsin that as long as you sort of follow the system, I don't think you're going to suck. And he's had a hard time kind of
just being better,
finding anything more offensively to kind of move them. They rely on the big tailback, and it just, I don't know. I'm actually a little down on Chris compared to probably what his national whatever is. But
the high school team is still running the Power T.
I mean, a little bit. They've had a hard time kind of figuring out what that next thing is. And the Big Ten has been slower than the SEC to embrace moving, but there are schools that do it, obviously.
Let's be careful with this Big Ten bashing. starting to get uncomfortable with
Neal's
this conversation.
perfectly fine with the 10-7 game at 11 o'clock in the morning.
It's fantastic.
He's fine with
It's great.
the Iowa kicker hitting the 42-yard field goal as time expires to win 10-7.
I'm perfectly cool with a second quarter touchdown. I go, that might be enough. This is going to be interesting. I like that.
It's the football equivalent of that second inning 2-run homer, and you go, hey, that might be all we need today, guys. We got this rolling. Oh, podcast.
People have asked me, and I've tried to think of what it is about the Big Ten, and I think I came up with the reason for why I kind of have a soft spot for it. When I was doing all that marathon training back in the day, on Saturdays, I would run to a Big Ten game, and I would tell myself, all right, we're not taking a water break until this quarter ends. Okay? Well, an SEC quarter is 50 minutes. I mean, you're 5 miles before you start getting a sip of water. A Big Ten quarter sometimes was 20-something minutes because they're running the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's 1st and 10. We know we're running here. 2nd and 6, we're sure running. 3rd and 2, maybe. And so I would get to my water break a little quicker in a Big Ten game than if it were like some goofy-ass ACC thing where it's 48.
Oklahoma State, Texas Tech isn't getting you to your water anytime
They're just throwing. It's incomplete. Clock sitting there. You're like, man, I need a break here soon.
Yeah.
It might be that.
Okay. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you can local underwriting and understand your market. Leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWECommunitymtg.com.
Also brought to you by Dead Soxy, best socks you'll ever put on your feet. Get ready for the football season with some Ole Miss themed socks. If you've got people in your life who are fans of other teams, I got theme socks for some of them as well. DeadSoxy.com, promo code Rebel Grove at checkout for 25% off your order. Speaking of getting ready for football season, it's going to be hot in the Grove on September the 3rd. That vodka might hit you a little different than you used to. So get your Game Changer patches, the 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. Warm-up patch used before, while you drink. Overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your order. Automation and Control Systems, LLC, owned and operated by my friend Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. They've got a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. To learn more, go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Lammon's Fine Jewelry, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard, has been serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, you name it, they've got it. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products, same great services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer. 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern. 662-429-4429. And we're brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram with the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. And if you're like me, you get your 401k statements right now and you just don't open them. You put them in a file somewhere and tell yourself that you'll look at them eventually. If yours is looking rough and you want to maybe get a professional to start helping you a little bit, get in touch with the people at Pinnacle. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com.
Podcast is brought to you by Johnson Hill Creamery, johnsonhillcreamery.com. You can go to the website or go straight to their Instagram page where you see how they make some of their cheeses. They do those locally and in-house every single day, some of their sandwich options and much more. So I'll throw it on the message board earlier bragging on their sandwiches that they have available each day as well. And it's getting close to Grove season, as Neal mentioned. That means time to get your tailgate packages set. They have one that feeds 10, one that feeds 20, one that feeds 40 if you so wish for that. Everything from charcuterie to sandwiches, desserts, And crudité and more can be a little healthier. They have that too. Neal can jump on some celery, some broccoli, and more. Cheese at JohnsonHillCreamery.com, 662-419-9201 to get your orders in now. Maybe one of the most degenerate things that I found this morning when I was looking through things to potentially talk about is NFL preseason betting and the things that you potentially could do with that. And I'm not staying on this very long, but I found this fascinating. I've actually got two things, one about both of Neal's teams. One, Joe Burrow practiced full pads for the first time on Sunday, so everything
beautiful. So beautiful,
everything moving in the right direction there for the Bengals quarterback. It seems like
they had their first game on Friday, and out before the game, he was out there doing sprints. Looked like he was running well, and then he comes up. I guess it was on Sunday, and he's got his pads on, got his orange jersey, just looking spectacular, ready to roll.
I think you could have gotten away with being a Bengal scout on Saturday had you had the notepad and the whistle. I think you could have walked over and started asking questions and gotten them answered potentially. Find the GA who's only been here for a few weeks.
Who doesn't know me?
Yeah. I guess. So, what do you really think about so and so? What's going on right there? Hey, got it going. I only saw Jets on Saturday. Might have been more, but I saw Jets.
Jets have been out there a lot.
Have they?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, what I was going to read here is this cracks me up, and I'm sure there's value in this, I guess, but I pulled this up on ESPN this morning. The guy says, truthfully, I'm scared for Chicago Bears fans. They're just a tad bit too optimistic about Justin Fields. They want it so badly, and that desire might lead to devastation. Personally, I'm not sold on him. But regardless, I also think he has the fewest playmakers of any starting quarterback. It's just not a good situation. There are seemingly opportunities to fade Chicago in the first half odds during the preseason. I prefer the first half because Trevor Siemian and Nathan Peterman have enough starting experience to excel against backups. Chicago's 14-0 halftime deficit Saturday is more likely an omen rather than an anomaly. Speaking of which, the Bears visit Seattle on Thursday. It seems like a good situation to back the home team in the first half. Not much is expected from the Seahawks this season. In fact, they're the fourth favorite at Caesars to score the fewest points. Yes, you can wager on that, he says. Pete Carroll will likely need a 13th and 14th man to avoid the NFC West basement. So there's your gambling pick for the week. We'll get into more gambling as the season gets here, but it's to fade the Bears first half against the Seahawks on Thursday night.
Or just fade the Bears.
Maybe we don't need the qualifier there, right?
Yeah, the qualifier is helpful for a specific bet. But boy, they're bad. They just don't have any – he has no help, and I'm not sure how good he is. He's fine.
Is there hope with him?
Maybe. I mean, is he going to do what some of the other quarterbacks in the league can do? I don't think so. I think his ceiling is 12th, 13th, 14th best quarterback in the league.
Ceiling.
That's what it feels like.
Which is not winning playoff games.
It's not really fair. But, yeah, just last season was tough to watch.
Okay. We're going to go over this 7,000 times, but just quickly because we have a minute and nothing else to talk about when we talk football. Give me – I only hit the ones that are Power 5 games. Tell me if you have any interest in some of these Week 0 games that are coming up. We're not that far away. I mean, we're only 12 days away from the college football opening week. Did we decide we're skipping Neal's picks for Vanderbilt and Hawaii?
Yes, we're not going to go there.
We're not going to go there.
Wait and do it right.
Vanderbilt is only an SEC team as long as there are other SEC teams involved.
Yes.
Essentially. They're an add-on to the schedule, not the reason for a schedule. Your first game, actually, there's no time yet, which would seem to be kind of an issue. We're 12 days away from kick, and there's 0 time on the Nevada-New Mexico State game.
That just does nothing for me. I know it's college football.
It's a little surprising, though, there's no time.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know. But I hear people go, it's football, I'll watch it. I'm like, I'm not quite there yet.
If I had to pick one, I actually would be more interested in Austin Peay at Western Kentucky than Nevada at New Mexico State.
Yes.
Which says more about the first
will be a better game. But even that, I'm like, are you watching that? I'm like, no, probably not. I mean, no, I'm not.
The scale's going up now at 11:30 a.m. Okay. 11:30 a.m. Nebraska and Northwestern on Saturday.
Okay, now I'm watching that.
You're in?
In. 1,000%.
You will have that on.
Yes. Unless Carson's got soccer that weekend in a tournament in Clinton. And so I don't know what's going to be feasible. but I'll try. Yes, if that's on in the hotel room, I'm glued.
I don't think anyone's interested in Idaho State and UNLV.
Nope.
UConn and Utah State.
Where does UNLV play, by the way?
I don't know.
I think I flew over their stadium, and if I did, it's kind of out of the
Like
city
Fort
a little
Henderson
bit.
somewhere.
Well, I couldn't tell where it was, but it was out a little ways, and it's so freaking hot. Like, what does that look like in late
Allegiant
August?
Stadium.
So they play in the Raider Stadium.
They do.
Okay, well, that's much different.
I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, and after 2019, Sam Boyd Stadium, though, in Whitney, Nevada, was where they played from, sorry, I had it up, 1971 until 2019, I believe.
Fairly sure I flew over it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if they play at Allegiant, at least that's a fun place to go sit and watch a game.
Yeah, 71 to 19, they moved to Allegiant in 20. This is also where the Las Vegas Bowl was from 92 through 19 before moving as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's an SEC Bowl tie-in now, right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, better than Shreveport.
Better than a lot of places.
No, that's a good point. We actually go down the list pretty good, can't we?
Better than Tampa,
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Something different.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hartwell will move to 1-0 against UConn, but whatever, don't care. Wyoming's at Illinois. I don't know if even Neal can love that game.
Well, I would give it a shot.
What's the straight? I mean, Northwestern and Nebraska will have been over for about 3 hours by the time that gets started. So,
Yeah. So what time's that game?
I'm just kidding. It's at 3. You can go back to back. You can go straight in if you'd like.
Oh, yeah.
You get a Big Ten doubleheader if you would like one.
Sign me up.
Charlotte at Florida Atlantic. I'll pass.
No.
Duquesne at Florida State. We're going to pass on that. I feel like Mike Norvell will get that one accomplished.
Yeah. That doesn't do much for me.
Florida A&M and North Carolina. I mean, even I can't care for Phil Longo that much.
No.
North Texas at UTEP.
No.
An 8 o'clock start.
No.
Not interested.
It's kind of tough.
Not there. And then your nightcap, 9:30 on the opening weekend of college football. The Vanderbilt Commodores, the Hawaii Warriors.
Sign me up.
From Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Clark Lee, Timmy Chang.
Sign me up.
CBS Sports Network. Tickets as low as $47. That's actually kind of expensive for that game.
That's kind of expensive. Who's paying $47 to see that?
That's the cheapest. Does
that come with all you can drink beer?
That is the second most expensive ticket of the first weekend.
What's the most?
Nebraska Northwestern.
Okay, where's that? Is that game in Dublin?
Yes.
Okay.
Tickets as low as $174 for that game.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, I know there's not much availability because it's a small stadium, but I mean, hold on. I knew it was small, but this place is really small.
Yeah, it's like a rec center sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess ticket ranging from $47 to $225.
Okay, if you pay $225,
those are good seats though. It's actually end zone seats for $225.
Just go to a sports bar and watch it, for God's sake, if you're going to spend that much money. You're in Hawaii. Hang out on the beach. Put it on your phone.
That's a good point. No matter how many hours you have in Hawaii, spending 4 of them there seems like a bad idea, right?
I mean, I'm just thinking. I've never been, so maybe after a few hours of it, you're ready to do something different. I don't know.
This is Vanderbilt football. I feel like I need to bet on that game. Just I don't know why. It just feels like a game to bet on that night. And I think Vanderbilt wins. Maybe even kind of.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're going to cover.
I mean,
6.5.
You got to be super careful with week 1 overreactions, but if they don't, they've got real problems. Yeah, it's an intramural field.
Oh, so it's like, I mean, what's the attendance?
I'm guessing like 5,000.
I got it up right here. Capacity is 9,000.
Okay. Still feel like just a typical Vanderbilt game.
It's a big high school stadium, essentially.
It's Vanderbilt, Kentucky in November in Nashville.
Well, Kentucky will bring a few more. Nashville's fun enough. Be fine. It's right. It's close to where Masoli and the other guy Mariota played high school ball. It's like real close to their area.
Okay.
I'm looking at a map here. So anyway, okay. I don't know why I spent that much time on that, but so I did. Otherwise, news from Saturdays. We kind of jump back in that for a minute. The kicker was good. Jonathan Cruz, 7 of 7-ish, 6 of 6. I don't know. There was some debate about it. I think it was 7 for 7, but
I think it was 6 for 6, but it doesn't matter. He was really good. He looked like he would have made 20 in a row.
Several from between 40 and 49 at least. I don't know if they ever extended him past 50, but I saw some 40s.
No, they didn't. It was in the 40s. I think 42 was the longest.
Okay. He looked fine.
He looked super accurate based on the leg that I saw. I don't know that he's going to consistently hit the 50-yarder, but what difference does it make? Like Lane joked, because that's like a year's worth of kicks for us.
He did say that.
I mean.
And in his career, he's 5 of 6 from 50 and out.
Yeah.
He has 2 56-yarders in his career, which is his high.
The backup was 1 for 3.
Christian Stennefield.
It just doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It was like I'm fairly sure Trace Campbell caught the 2-point conversion from Kincaid Denton. The usual suspects questioned the veracity of that, and I was like, it just doesn't matter. That was the moment where I went, I was going to write something, but it's 3:00, and I think I'm going to go to the pool. I'm done. It's time to pour a beer.
And it didn't matter.
Peace out. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, the way that Ole Miss operates practice, I know some people think we're being jerks. The third team just doesn't factor in. I mean, like, there's no way, like, if you get bumped to the other field, then suddenly we got eyes on you, and that means something. But they have a very clear line of demarcation there to figure that out. I mean,
every once in a while they run up and get somebody off the top field to come down to the main field. And when they do, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. What's so-and-so doing?
Yeah. But, yeah.
They did it with Rashada a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They did it with several dudes, actually, but that was the one off the top of my head that is making sense there. Some defensive guys held out. Finley didn't play.
Yeah, I think AJ has some sort of a legitimate injury. I don't think it's a big deal, but I think they're being super careful.
There's no reason to
Plus,
push
they
that.
know what AJ Finley can do.
I tell you what stuck out, too, is we talked about the wide receivers struggling, but with Robinson out and Mingo in the white shirt, they had a really hard time because the defense was running a good bit of just kind of man press. Partridge cannot turn it off, so we're playing defense. And they couldn't catch the ball against Miles Battle. He had sort of shut down the side of the field, and that was affecting everything the quarterbacks were doing because everything was middle and over.
The one thing that I noticed, and I ran this by a football person who agreed with me, is that the receivers were having a very difficult time getting open against man.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Which is not good. And it was disruptive. There were some times where, in fairness to Luke Altmaier, and I may have kind of written this, people are like, well, he's got to put the ball downfield. I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing open.
Yeah, there was nowhere to throw it.
I mean, there's nobody open. He was going through his progressions. And that happened to Dart, too. And frankly, Dart in the pocket is a really accurate passer. Dart on the run is not. That's the part of his game that he still has to build. He still has to develop his.
Yeah, he can run, but he's not great throwing on the run.
Right. When he gets off platform, he's not particularly accurate yet. And that's something to watch because teams are going to try to flush him out. Because in the pocket, he's really good.
Yeah, when he actually has time to set up and set. And
people have said, and I don't know enough about quarterback play, Chase, to say whether this is accurate or not, but football people have said he's kind of mechanical still right now. And mechanical quarterbacks are often really good in the pocket. It's your improvisation skills. Now, he's such a charismatic kid that I think that's going to come for him. Again, a reminder, he's 19.
Until almost next season.
He's 19. He'll be 19 at the end of next spring. He'll still be 19. He's 19. He's not a finished product.
I have no idea what he did on plays where I didn't notice him because, I mean, I don't understand anywhere near enough about defense to not sort of watch the ball. But I thought Austin Keys was really active on Saturday. I thought he bounced around. I thought he was physical. he looked like a more mature version of the Keys that first popped for us when he got to campus, where you went, oh, no, that dude really looks like a linebacker. He looked like that on Saturday.
Well, again, like I went back and did numbers, and the running backs, Bentley had a couple of really good runs.
He and Judkins both had one series where they were popping off the page. But Judkins just dominated the number 2 defense one time down the field. And then Bentley did a really good job on like a 3, 4, 5 play sequence there.
But all in all, the running game was not particularly effective.
They really had a hard time running in between the tackles.
Yeah. And again, the offensive line was,
hodgepodge. Broker played like 8 plays.
I mean, and they got him out of there. You don't need to lose him, obviously. I still continue to come back to this. I've written now several times. Their 6th lineman is Jaden Williams.
Yes.
The redshirt freshman from Conway, Arkansas. They like him a bunch.
And in any other scenario where it wasn't so set, I think he would be pushing for a spot.
Yeah.
And frankly.
But if anybody gets hurt, I think they're going to shuffle the line because Jeremy James is so versatile. Jeremy can play right tackle.
Yeah, I think Williams plays left tackle if there's an injury.
Yeah. And you move.
That's what it feels like, at least.
I tell you what, I'd be tempted to get Caleb Warren out of there right now. Until I get some snaps done behind him, I don't need him banged up.
No,
I mean, and I suspect that if we were talking about Kentucky or Auburn or LSU or Texas A&M or
Akron,
Arkansas,
they could do things and move people.
My point was, I think if we were talking about those teams, they would tell you, we lose a couple offensive linemen, it gets kind of rough quick.
Well, that's a good point. Not everybody has 9 that are the same as the first 3. That's not the way that works. They're your 7th, 8th, 9th rotational people for a reason.
Right.
That's why that happens as it does. So that's a good point. Without the normal offensive line, without the normal wide receiver core, it's just hard to grade the defense. I thought they played really well. I thought they definitely won, but they were physical. They run around. They played a lot of guys too. I mean, I don't know. It was just, again, it's one scrimmage, and it's impossible to take everything from it. There's this expectation to go, well, no, here's the rule. It's like, no.
Well, Lane caught himself because earlier they had tweeted Lane's comment to me in response to my question about, hey, I can't think of more important scrimmages. And he started to say, hey, look, it was one scrimmage. It was just a scrimmage. And then he caught himself. He's like, it's important. I mean, I know he said it was important.
But it was just one scrimmage.
Because I kind of laughed a little, and I think he saw me sort of giggle at it. But at the end of the day, it was just kind of one scrimmage.
It was.
You can't make massive sweeping judgments off 1 hour and a half scrimmage on a Saturday morning.
No. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze. The 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and more. So again, call the office for those details. That's 662-238-3159.
If you want a special trip that creates a lifetime of unique memories, I suggest you get in touch with John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. He knows how to put together, with extra attention and his contacts, a vacation that you won't ever forget. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He's going to give you options. And know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Opa is Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, all of that at 306 South Lamar in Oxford. I'll have a mailbag up on Wednesday. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, they've got opportunities across the board in all different fields, from entry level to seasoned professional. It's always free for the candidate. All conversations are kept confidential, so you've got nothing to lose by giving them a call. It's Will, Sydney, or Kelsey at 662-832-5138 or servicespecialistltd.com. We're also brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. And don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward, chase after a better version of yourself every day. Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. And we're brought to you by Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate. Based out of Jackson, they service the entire state in all commercial asset classes such as industrial, retail, office, medical, and land. B.B. Mitchell with Pinpoint provides a plethora of commercial real estate services, but his core focus is sourcing investment properties for his clients. Pinpoint sets itself apart with its ability to source off-market opportunities for its investor clients, which maximizes returns. Pinpoint takes pride in its attention to detail, professionalism, and hard work. For your commercial real estate needs, call BB at 601-934-5008. And don't forget about Southern Traditions Farm, 68-acre, 32-stall, upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. They've got beginner lessons. They've got advanced lessons for people who are competing in competitions. And it's also a great place to host an event, a party. So get in touch with Susan Walt, Bowers Cone, and the people out at Southern Traditions Farm on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm.
Just because it was a familiar name to Ole Miss fans for a good bit of time. Isaiah Naylor that went to Texas, he tore an ACL over the weekend. He's out. They actually got bit twice.
Yeah,
they
they
have
got
a
a
senior
lineman,
offensive
too.
lineman that's out.
Mm-hmm.
ACL injury for both those guys. So if you had some overbets on the Longhorns, 2 shots there.
Sure. Big shots.
Well, look, we talk about this all the time. We kind of read some other sites, and Oklahoma and Texas are 2 that I go to pretty often. I was reading Catch's 10 Thoughts, and I got a feeling he was going to do this prior to this, and I'm not making it completely about this, but I did find it interesting that his first 2 to 3 thoughts yesterday were talking about how good the team could be in 2023. And that just a little glimpse I thought into, we're looking a year ahead right now, huh? Like that's got a little something there to it. He was doing possible 2023 starting lineup for point 2 yesterday.
It doesn't go well when you're at Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because even I'm reading this. Hey, they're gonna get better throughout the year, and by December nobody's gonna want to play them. It's like okay, when they're 4-8, like what are we doing here?
I mean, I'm a Thunder fan. And so sometimes when people roll out the Thunder 2023 lineup, I'm in.
And sometimes you go, oh.
Especially when they go, hey, at center, it's Victor Wembanyama. I'm like, sign me up. But at some point you go, hey, don't we need to play this season's games first? Just a few of them anyway. And at Texas, I don't know that Texas is ever going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NBA in their fan base. I don't know that Texas, you can do the rebuild thing forever.
Why are we talking about uniforms on the thread? I mean, I'm all for uniforms, but why are we talking about uniforms?
I'm not sure. Although, I tweeted this on Saturday. One of the great uniform matchups of all time was wasted on a preseason game.
Who?
The Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, that is a good one.
It was spectacular.
That is a good one.
I was sitting back watching that just going, oh, this is amazing. And nobody saw it because it's preseason, but it was beautiful.
If Texas is mediocre, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 probably for sure losses, or at least probables.
Give me their schedule.
And a couple of maybes.
I'll give you a quick WL on their schedule.
All right. ULM at home. Home game against Alabama.
A loss.
Sure? You want to talk about it?
Nope.
You good?
Yep.
They might shock the world.
If they do, it'll be by losing to ULM. 1-1.
UTSA.
2-1.
But sneaky. Better show.
Sure.
They're going to win. But it's the week after Alabama.
Sure.
Better win.
Sure.
West Virginia at home. Again, you're probably winning.
But interesting. 3-1, and I'm already a little shaky.
Oklahoma.
3-2.
Iowa State.
3-3.
Oklahoma State.
3-4.
That in an off week. That'll be a fun week in Austin right there now.
Sign me up.
October 29th, guys. Let's get here. Because if you said you're off one, you go 2-5.
Yeah.
And then, oh, hell.
Okay, we got them 3-4. Open date.
Yeah, Kansas State.
Where?
Bill Snyder Family Stadium, Manhattan, Kansas. They're going to win, but
okay, 4-4. But I feel like I'm walking on stilts right now.
TCU at home.
5-4
at Kansas. All jokes aside.
6-4. But I'm wishing I had the Kansas State game back right now. 6-4.
Baylor.
6-5.
That's all.
They only play 11 games.
Did I forget something? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry. There's an at Texas Tech in there. I skipped that one.
I mean, we're giving them these games that we're
only still getting them to 7.
I mean, we
had to push to get it to 7.
I'm now giving them 3 games
that you
just
don't like
because they have horns on their helmet, and I'm not a big believer that the uniform wins games.
Because you're giving them TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia.
Yeah, and Kansas State. I'm giving them 4 games.
They only have 3 games on the schedule you feel really good about.
Yeah, ULM, UTSA, and TCU. I think TCU's going to be
4.
TCU's going to be really bad.
Kansas, 4.
They lost to Kansas last year.
Okay.
They did. They lost the game. I watched it with you, cheering.
That's true. The walk-on tight end caught the touchdown.
He did.
His parents were very excited.
So were we. I mean, I can't criticize his parents. We were cheering too.
The highest-ranked Texas team at the end of the year will be A&M or Baylor.
Yes.
Which one? Take your pick.
AP poll comes out today, by the way.
Does it?
Yeah. Is Suss a voter?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably some TV guy from Gaucher or something. I don't know. No clue.
I actually hope it's like Steve Robertson or something. It won't be, but I would laugh out loud and be super excited if it were. That would give us a segment every single week.
Oh, well, that's true. Here's the poll.
Here's the poll.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Where would you put if you were a voter? How would you do SEC teams on your ballot?
Nationally?
Yeah.
Bama 1, Georgia 3.
Okay.
I mean, without going through the whole thing, Texas A&M 7, 8. I don't know, somewhere in that realm.
All right.
Tennessee would be ranked. Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Ole Miss. All somewhere between 16 and 22-ish.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
So I would have Alabama.
I think that's it.
I would have Alabama 1. I would have Georgia 3. I would have A&M around 10.
Okay.
The
problem around that 10 is there's other teams you're going, well, but I hate them too,
right.
even though they've got to be ranked 9th.
I probably would have Kentucky higher than most people. I probably would have Kentucky at like 12 or 13. I think I would have Ole Miss at about 20, maybe a dash higher. I'd have Arkansas around 21, 22, and I think I'd put Tennessee in that 24, 25 range. And I think I'd feel pretty good about it. I don't think I'd rank LSU. I might end up regretting that later. I wouldn't put Auburn in there because I just got to see something. And I wouldn't put Florida in there because I don't think they're a top 25 team. They have a top 25 name, but not a top 25 team, and then the rest of the league, whatever.
And if you told me that there's a team out and team in the SEC that I'm going to put in by the end of the year, I would think Tennessee is out and LSU's in.
Yeah.
If somebody said, hey, you're one off on both directions.
Could be.
That's probably where I would go with that.
There's been some talk about Brett McMurphy's initial poll. I saw it on the board, and it's here in the stream. Brett has Alabama at 1, Georgia at 3, A&M at 5, Arkansas at 14, and Tennessee at 22. He did not put Ole Miss in his poll.
Yeah, and he had like some weird teams late. He had like Air Force 23 or something. There was stuff all in his poll.
This will not be a popular take that I'm about to give. I don't fault a national person who doesn't study Ole Miss for not putting Ole Miss in the poll. There are enough question marks for Ole Miss that a national person could leave them out.
Yeah, that you can go, okay.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. Ole Miss is going to play 4 games in September. They're probably going to win all of them. If Kentucky beats Florida, they're going to win all of them. And then October, the first game that I keep talking about, is going to be really big. And the winner of that game will vault into the top 10. And at that point, it never matters, but it really doesn't matter until then, if it ever matters at all. If you're worked up about your ranking on September the 3rd, that's on you.
Yeah, and the coaches poll, Ole Miss is what, 23, 24?
Yeah, it's 24, I think, which is fine. Whatever.
Yeah, by October 1st, because everybody else is going to lose, you're going to win. You're going to be no lower than 14th.
Yeah.
And can be as high as like 7th, depending on the chaos that has happened around the country.
And it never matters. But if you're going to pay attention to it, I would recommend.
And then you beat Kentucky, you beat Auburn, you beat Vanderbilt. Well, suddenly you're cooking with gas. And you're
you go to LSU ranked 5th or 6th in the country, and
in it.
They are laser focused on you at that point.
Yeah.
And now you get to find out who you are.
Yeah.
Because it's the first of 3 trips.
Yeah, that's the one where the dealer goes.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Because that's the section of the schedule that I mean, look, if you beat Kentucky and you beat Vandy and you beat Auburn, and those are ifs.
A lot of ifs.
But you're 7-0, and your next 4 games are at LSU, at A&M, Alabama, at Arkansas. All 4 of those teams will be locked in on you, and then you know it's on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, sure.
So
you might face a state team, though, that might, while desperate, is just broken.
Could be.
By Thanksgiving.
In fact, I kind of think
that schedule sucks.
I think they will be.
Yeah, I do too. I actually, that feels much closer to win than
agreed
than coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me Ole Miss lost an SEC home game besides Alabama, I would go, it's Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you told me, nope, it's not Kentucky, I go, oh, it's Auburn. Mississippi State would be my last guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's right. All right, we got a week to get through here prior to kind of getting into game week a little bit. Next time we will have games. When we talk next Monday, there will be games at the end of the week, and the end of the weekend as week 0 is upon us. So, again, the last week of Ole Miss preseason camp here this week. Practice access has been dwindled, however. We mentioned this on Thursday or Friday. There was only basically a stretching period allowed, and it's just end of practice moving forward. So there's not the full media observations that would be. We have interview access Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm handling it Monday and Wednesday. Chase is handling it Friday. So we will have coverage to you throughout the week. That is correct. Yes. On all those different ways. So, okay, take care. Hope everything is well in your world, and we'll talk to you again.